Hello YouTube, Anne Bella here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the world's best-selling book, which is going to be interesting because the world's best-selling book is the Bible. With over 5 billion copies sold, it is a major religious text / history / cultural / law-giving book. It is controversial, and interpretations of it have caused either people to die or not to die. It is the basis for practically every legal system in the world is based off the Bible or the Quran or the Torah. The Bible is a core text in 3 of the 6 major world religions, which are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It also plays a huge part in the others. Most religious people have huge respect for the Bible as it is a sacred text. In this review, I'm just going to be outlining the basic facts. I'm not really going to be going into the religious / spiritual side. What is the Bible? That's basically the question. Okay, Bible facts. Bible means books in French and Latin. So it's basically like a library. It's split into 2, sometimes 3 parts. And I'm going to start off with the Good News Bible. The Good News Bible is basically a Bible that spreads good news. It's also one of the easiest Bibles to actually read if you're 5 to 90. So that's basically that. If we have a look at our other friend here, there are loads of different translations of the Bible. I'm not even going to go, this is the Revised Standard Version. There's the King James Version over there, the Poverty and Social Justice Bible, the Good News Bible for the Catholics, that includes the Apocrypha, and the Youth Bible, which is the New Century Version. There's lots of different translations, but I'm not going to go there. Okay, so this is the Old Testament. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 books, because in the Old Testament there are 39 books. There are law, history, poetry, wisdom, and prophets, basically. The first 5 make up the Jewish Torah, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And they're accredited with their author being Moses. Then you've got the historical books, which is all about the history of the Jewish civilization. Then you've got the poetical books, or that's also called the wisdom and poetry. Then you've got the major prophets and minor prophets, or some people just call it prophets. So when you talk about, I'm going to read the Bible, it's like, which book do you want to read? I mean, there are 39 books in the Old Testament itself, and that's the oldest actual part of the Bible. It basically goes from a time before there was time to basically, it's huge and vast, and it covers a vast time period, and each book of the Bible is written in a different way, because they have different authors apart from those 5 at the top. Even then there is slight difference because Moses has written them slightly differently, and it's the same with Joshua and Judges, and some books are actually a summary. See, like Chronicles 1 and Chronicles 2 are just a chronicle of what actually happened, and then you've got Kings 1 and Kings 2, which is a chronicle of the same, around the same period, but told in a slightly different way, which is one of the reasons why it gets confusing, because there are different accounts. But then again, there would be, because it's just like today. If there's like a criminal trial, there'll be different versions of events, and people will have their own spin on it. So it all depends. It's a hugely significant book, the Old Testament. So that's that. Then there are books called the Apocrypha. Not every Bible includes these because there's some debate over whether they should be included. But here they are. There are 15 books of those, and they outline the time in between Jesus' time and John the Baptist's time and the Old Testament. And there's some debate whether they should be included. They're included in the Catholic Good News Bible, but they're not generally included in most Protestant Bibles. But that's not to say that Protestants don't read them or value them. So yeah, most even in Judaism, there's Orthodox, which is slightly more stricter, and Reform or Progressive. And it's the same in Christianity. You've got the Orthodox Christians, and then you've got the Roman Catholic Church, then you've got Protestantism, then you've got Baptists and Methodists, and all the way down to Mormons. So there's a vast lot of people, and even within those different sects or denominations, you will have some people who are more liberal, some people who are more high church and low church, and it just goes on and on and on. And we're not going on that because we're actually supposed to be talking about this. Okay, so there's 39 books in the Old Testament alone, 15 books in the Apocrypha, and in the New Testament there's 27 books. So, and they're split: 4 Gospels, the Acts, letters, and Revelation or prophetic book. So the New Testament, so you've got Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. They're the Gospel writers. The Acts of the Apostles, which is the development of the early church. And then you've got the letters. And it's basically the letters of Paul and some other people. And then you've got a prophetic book at the end. So even within that, it's written by different people. So when people say, oh, I'm going to read the Bible, oh, the Bible is a book. And I'm like, no, it's not. Old Testament's got 39. Apocrypha's got 15 books, and the New Testament's got 27 books. It is not one book, it means books. Lots of different books, all put together. And also written in different styles. See, this book is very, very easy reading. Really, really easy reading. So it says, Joseph gave orders to fill his brother's packs with corn to put each man's money back in his sack. It's really, really easy to read this translation. It's one of the reasons why I like it so much. It also has these cute little drawings which you can colour in and underline. Yes, people do underline and write on their Bibles. Why do they do that? Because they study them. I used this when I was doing my RE GCSE. So if we actually go to Mark, Mark is literally highlighted, neon coloured, because we had to learn it when we did our GCSE. And our teacher encouraged us to colour the drawings. So, yeah. So people do that. So if anybody tells you, you can't draw on the Bible, say, actually, I can. Obviously, you've got to make sure that it's your own Bible, then you can highlight away. This version of the Holy Bible I really like because it actually has pictures from Jerusalem. So this is the Golden Gate, Jerusalem within it, which really adds context to it. And then at the back, you've got some maps. Most Bibles will have some maps because you need them to be able to understand it. And then this one's got it's got famous biblical characters, and it's also got instruments and coins and miscellaneous objects. So you have some understanding. There's the Hebrew calendar, money and measures. It's quite nice, really. And it just got a little bit of an explanation. And then you've got the Roman Empire explaining that. Because the Bible covers a vast period of time. You know, Persia, Greece, Alexander, Egypt. All of these things kind of get mentioned. They might not be the main players, but they do get mentioned. So you kind of have to have a little understanding of ancient history as well, which kind of makes it does make it difficult. See, simple helps and visual aids, which is really kind of cute. So, original languages, English versions, all sorts of things. Which is one of the reasons I really like this Bible. And look, animal life. Ah. So yeah, I like that kind of thing. And look, it tells you about plants as well. Mandrake. Woohoo. You know, pomegranates, fig, all that kind of things. Frankincense and stuff, which is really helpful because it just gives additional flavour to the words. So that's one of my favourites. I kind of like that one. I like this one because it, unlike my other Good News Bible here, that's got pictures and little cute drawings, this one doesn't do that. It doesn't have those at all. It's slightly wider and it's also hardback, but it contains the Apocrypha. See, we've got maps in here. Most of them will have maps, and most books of the Bible will actually have an introduction to each book. So this is the introduction to Genesis. What does it mean? And it means beginning or origin, and off you go. And then it will like the outline of the contents just to help the reader. And very often they will also have footnotes, because how it is this is Exodus chapter 34, And it also links, so you get links with other parts, which is really helpful. And then you get onto different chapters as well, because there's this whole chapter verse thing. So if I was going to go to, I'm in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 4, fill every valley, level every mountain, the hills will become a plain, and the rough country will be made smooth. And then that's the next verse in chapter 40. So it is unique. Then there are also different kinds of ones that you can get. This is the Poverty and Social Justice Bible, so it kind of comes with a theme. So whenever poverty or social justice is mentioned, if we can get it to focus, remember his miracles and his wonders and his fair decisions. It will be highlighted red, and then it's got, oh look, lots of stuff there. And then it's got a core section all about how poverty and social justice fit in, and then it's got like different bits. And yes, there is a section on sex. There's always a section on sex in the Bible, by the way. It just happens to be there. There's a section on everything. And people sort of think about, well, how is it used? People use it as like a life guide, really. It's kind of like the first self-help book, if that makes sense. And not to be offensive or disrespectful, but kind of is. So this one's got that in, and additional notes at the end of each chapter. Because some books of the Bible are like really, really small. Oh, maps. There's always maps at the back. And who's who, and different things. Mini dictionary. Most Bibles will have a dictionary. Now this Bible's quite handy because this is the youth Bible. So it is slightly different. It's the New Century Version. Got the contents, Old Testament, New Testament. There's always like how to read it. But this Bible's quite unique because it sets out why read this book behind the scenes. Usually gives you sort of a map, what the action was, when it took place in a little timeline. And then it's got a side light. But they also have, in these ones, little life files, hunger and poverty. Okay, so this is about Elijah stops the rain and sin. What's the connection? So it kind of pulls it into modern day context, which is very handy to do so. There's all sorts of different things. Loads of people use the Bible. Stephen Fry has read the Bible. He might not agree with it, but he's read it. So he's got a hell of a lot of understanding of what it's actually talking about. So if it's an important book, and Richard Dawkins has read it, I mean, there are loads of issues regarding Richard Dawkins, which I'm not going to go into. He's a big atheist, but even he says that the Bible is a culturally significant book. Everybody should have some understanding of it, even if they choose not to believe. That's their choice. This isn't about, converting people to a religion. It's about understanding and appreciating what has gone before, because I think that's really important that we do this, because it's one of the oldest books in the world. It's the best selling book. 5 billion copies of this book have been sold, so it must be doing something good, otherwise people wouldn't keep buying it, and there wouldn't be so many different versions of it. Ones with pictures, ones without pictures, ones related today, ones about poverty and social justice, ones that include books that everybody else does not want included. This is the King James version of the Bible, and it reads very differently to, this is a scripture sticker, to the others, because this is basically a Stuart/Tudor work. We'll read, this is 10 Commandments, so we're on chapter 20 of Exodus, verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. Okay, so that's King James Bible language. Okay, so that's verse 5 of Exodus. If we go in here, Good News version, and go to chapter 20, and read verse 5, it will read very differently and it will be easier to understand. Here we go. 7. Here we are. 5. Do not bow down to any idol or worship it, because I, the Lord, your God, and I tolerate no rivals. I bring punishment on those who hate me and on their descendants down to the 3rd and 4th generation. See? It's just tweet, so it's easier for the modern reader. If you're interested in reading it, Good News Bible would be a place to start. And don't let people tell you how to read it or when to read it or what. Just pick it up, find a bit and read. There are loads of bits. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't make sense. Some of it is just confusing. The New Testament is easier to read than the Old Testament because the New Testament is younger. And yeah, it really is younger. So this has been this. I hope you have enjoyed it. This is not, I'm going to put a disclaimer out, this is not against religion or anything, and it's just basically the facts. So the Bible means books in French and Latin, split into 2 parts, sometimes 3. The Old Testament has 39 books. The law is the oldest part, and that is the Jewish Torah, which is their main sacred text that they use. There's the Apocrypha, which has 15 books. Not every Bible has those. The New Testament's got 27 books, 4 Gospels, Acts, letters, and Revelation, or prophetic book at the end. New Testament's all about Jesus. Old Testament's all about the Jewish nation and how the Jewish nation came into being and their history and what happened to them. And then the Apocrypha is about what happened in between the Old Testament and the New Testament. So it kind of ties everything together. Hope you've enjoyed this review. I've enjoyed doing it. The Bible, it's a complicated, controversial, dangerous, and interesting text, and it will continue to influence people's lives for generations to come, considering, according to the Guinness Book of Records, 5 billion copies have been sold, and they're making all these different versions, and these are just some of mine. So, yeah, bye!